All right, back here with Tony Bellew. Obviously, we've had a massive fight recently where Usyk managed to do what many people didn't expect and dethrone Anthony Joshua. I seen you right after the fight, mate, and I could tell you were like gutted for AJ. Now that there's been a bit of time, how are you looking at the fight?
Do you know what, mate? I look back at it and I think he's approached it wrong and made mistakes, but he's human like everyone else. As he approached the first Andy Ruiz fight, he's got to adjust, come back again and make changes. It's all part and parcel of learning and improving on your craft. So it's just a tough pill for him to swallow because everyone knows the Fury fight was just around the corner. And but now, Tyson Fury's got his own battle, this weekend coming against Wilder. So you just don't know what can happen in the heavyweight division. I told anyone who'd listened, because everyone thought that AJ was just going to be too big. Anyone who chooses to have a boxing match with this guy is going to lose. He's the best natural boxer in the world. Everyone above 175, he is the best by a mile. Only person and I'm not even sure Canelo's an actual better boxer than him. He's just great at what he does. Canelo is a counterpuncher and a severe, technician in the ring. But as a pure out-and-out boxer, there is very few that can match Oleksandyr Usyk. Well, there's no one above 175, 168 that can match him, mate. He's in a league of his own. The only reason that boy will lose, as I'll say again, will be purely because of size and strength. That'll be the only thing that beats him, size.
Well, coming out of the fight, I think a lot of people had a bit more respect for you because to me, all right, AJ won some rounds against Usyk, but the rounds you won against Usyk were more decisive, were more actually clear-cut. You actually had better rounds than AJ did against Usyk.
Oh, thank you, but it doesn't make a difference, mate. He splattered me in the end. It got to me, so he done me. So I'm very grateful and very appreciative of people's comments, but I think AJ's just with two different fighters. If I had AJ's attributes, mate, I'd be a completely different fighter.
Obviously,
if AJ had my attributes, he'd be different. So he worked with what he's got. AJ's a fantastic athlete. He's a really good boxer. But when you've got attributes like he's got of such speed and such devastating power and explosive power, use them to your ability, use them to your advantage. Don't get into a boxing match with a master boxer. It's like me getting into a chess match with a master chess player. I just want to punch the master chess player in the face. I don't want to have a chess match with him, mate. Don't do it.
Well, a lot of people are criticising the tactics. It is very difficult to understand what the tactics were because we did hear late on in the fight, brilliant AJ and all of these sort of comments from the corner. And it seemed as though he was just waiting for the knockout to almost fall into his lap rather than chasing the fight. And a lot of people, big names, the Furies and just general names in boxing who have no vested interest either way, have said, AJ, if he wants to do this, needs to change trainer. You were very complimentary of Rob McCracken last time I spoke to you. Would you agree or disagree with that?
You won't have heard Rob McCracken clapping his hands saying that's great, AJ. Not once in that fight. Robert McCracken weren't clapping his hands, so that answers that question straight away. That's the help that's being employed and brought on board. That's not Rob McCracken clapping them hands. So Rob McCracken's a fantastic coach. Rob McCracken basically doesn't give out compliments, if I'm being totally honest.
I've heard that, yeah. I have heard that.
I've known him long enough. Carl Froch will speak highly of him as well. He's a brilliant coach, Robert McCracken. This is a guy who doesn't just get hold of good fighters and then work with what he's got. This guy creates fighters. This guy creates ability. This guy gives them opportunities. This guy took a raw novice in Anthony Joshua and took him to an Olympic gold medal. A World Championship silver medal, a unified heavyweight champion of the world, basically from scratch. This kid was a raw novice when he first got hold of him. That's what Robert McCracken done. That's very, very rare in today's world, that you take guys from nothing to something, to the height of, from nothing in amateur boxing to the pinnacle of the heavyweight championship of the world. So that's what Robert McCracken's training done. The other two guys that have brought in, Angel Fernandez and I forget the other guy's name, that added help, and the voices were heard on the night. But the one voice and the most important voice, trust me, is Robert McCracken in there, and I'm sure that voice will raise above everyone else's. Hopefully it does.
Okay, well, Rob, to my knowledge, from people I know who've trained with him, is known for keeping it simple. You go backwards and forwards, but when you come in, you punch with authority. From what I understand, even on pads, it's none of this tippy-tappy. It's you're putting your power through it. Why do you think AJ didn't do that on the night? Why didn't he pull the trigger in the way that everyone expected him to do?
It's so hard against Oleksandyr Usyk. 1 minute he's there, the next minute he's not. He makes you think and feel that he's there, but he's actually not there at all. He's the master of the judgment of distance. He controls it in the fight, and he controlled it in that fight. The biggest shock came in the very first round when he gets a reaction out of AJ with the first heavy left hand that he lands. Straight away there, and then that kind of shouldn't happen. The smaller fighters shouldn't really get a reaction out the big guy.
There was a moment where AJ's eyes seemed to light up, like he was like, whoa, like that was that shocked. Recognition, yeah.
And it's very hard then to just follow a game plan of I'm gonna squash this guy. He's not gonna be able to have an effect on me because he just has. So you have to approach it differently. Now, it's, as I've said before, and I'll say again, it's okay going into a fight with a game plan and seeing it through, but when shocks happen in fights, you can't just completely spin it and then adapt to the shock, because she was never prepared for it mentally. It's like what happened in the Ruiz fight. He never anticipated he'd be able to be hurt. He never anticipated being on the floor. He was never able to react and respond to it. It's just the way it is with some people. Now, going into the rematch with Ruiz, he was prepared to be hit. He mentally knew he could hit the floor, and he got hit in the Ruiz rematch, and he bounced back, and he was fantastic. People say, well, why didn't it happen in the first fight? Because he wasn't mentally prepared. He goes into the second fight with Usyk, and he knows exactly what he's in with. But he also now knows that he has to implement his attributes and use his attributes to the best of his ability. And his attributes are superior speed, superior strength, superior size. Make all them three work for you. Don't get caught up in thinking, what happens if I gas? What happens if I tire? What happens if I can't do this? I'd rather go out giving it everything I've got than survive knowing I could have done more.
Well, that was one of the things that surprised me in terms of, we had that chat and you were telling me about the speed of AJ, and everyone I know who's been in the gym with him has said it's something to behold. Like when you see him hitting pads or hitting the bag, you're like, whoa. But against Usyk looked quicker, and that was quite shocking. And he was beating him to a punch a lot, and he was setting him up. And it felt like a lot of people were complaining that AJ looked gun shy or was fighting with a bit of fear. But do you think there's something in the fact that when AJ was trying to throw the big shot, he was just getting countered, and it made him reluctant to just fight his normal fight, and he was thinking too much and second guessing himself a lot?
I don't think he ever truly got the judgment of distance right in the fight. I don't think he ever truly got the range, whereas Usyk got the range in the first round. That's how quick he adapted and adjusted. He started doing certain things to AJ where he was looking at everything that he does. He's like the fucking Matrix. The bully watches everything you do. He absorbs it in his brain, and then he uses it against you. So he feints you a certain way and sees which way you move, which way you pose, which way you're going to do. And this is why when I boxed him, people can't do it, because I set traps for him and got him to fall into the traps. It was only after 5 or 6 rounds that he realised that I was still setting to the same traps, and he understood what I was doing before to set the trap, and then he adjusted and accumulated to what I was doing. He's a genius in a boxing ring. Now with AJ, he's not that style of fighter. Like, I'm not the style like he is. I wish I could have had his style and attributes, because believe you me, mate, if I was AJ and I had his size, strength, power and speed, I'd fucking invade Russia.
I love that shit. There was a lot of talk.
It's just, you can't, you've got to be able to use your attributes to the best of your ability. And don't ask a dog to be a cat.
I mean, there's, maybe there's good reason. They say the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. It wouldn't be fair if Anthony Joshua had the best boxing brain ever either. You know what I mean? He's got a lot going for him.
It'd be impossible to beat.
Know what I mean? Because I'm interested in the technical aspects of this fight. And with Usyk, he had the lead hand out, and it seemed like quite a bit of a distraction for AJ. Can you explain to me how that can affect people in a fight? The way he was sort of just irritating
even in a round. What it does is it takes away your sight. It takes away the target in front of you. So whereas if the hand stays down and low, or the hand stays to the chin height, you can see his face, you can see everything there is to hit. But when this is in front of you like this now, you can't see me. And that's, instead of thinking about this, what you should be hitting, you're now thinking about this in front of me. How can I get around this? And that poses a barrier. That's the first barrier that you've got in front of you. So you've got to hit this, you've got to get around this. And while you're thinking about getting around this, pop, he's hit you. Pop, he's hit you again. And it's a clever tool. It's something that takes years of practice. As I say, Klitschko was the master of it. Usyk didn't really use it much in the fight. It's something that Fury uses an awful lot now, and it's something that he used in the Deontay Wilder rematch absolutely perfectly. He just puts it out, and then he blinds you, then he grabs hold of you, leans on you, uses his weight advantage, uses height advantage. It's very hard to combat against, but you can't do that much as the smaller man. Whereas Usyk done it, Usyk poured, dipped low, dipped high, pop, and got his shots off. He was trying to draw AJ's lead to counter him as fast as he could, but he soon realised once the fourth round had started, he was able to force the pace just himself with his feet. His feet was AJ at the end of round 12, he fights purely on heart and guts alone when he comes out for that 12.
Yeah, I think he deserves quite a bit of respect, AJ, for that. The fact that he survived that, and it really was survival time by the end. You made a comment earlier about the fact that Usyk was able to get his respect very early and hit him and hurt him a little bit. And at 15.5 stone, I think a lot of people didn't expect that. And it feels like AJ coming in at 17 stone, which in the heavyweight division, it isn't a huge gap when you consider Deontay Wilder was, it was like 40 pounds off of Fury. This isn't quite anywhere near that much. I feel like AJ was very concerned with the long distance of the fight, the cardio of Usyk that came in. And there was always that in the back of his head. If I unload the clip here, I haven't got that window to recover the way I would with a Pulev or someone like that. So you mentioned about going in and not thinking about that. Do you think AJ now should change and maybe come in heavy and go, look, we're going to try and obliterate this guy early on? Or
it's not so much about your weight and what you're doing in the gym. It's just follow a game plan. Your weight management and how big you are and how strong you are, it shouldn't really play a part. Just use your attributes. Are you strong and are you fast and powerful at the weight? Are you fit? He's always fit. He's the best athlete the heavyweight division's ever seen, in my opinion. He's that good of an athlete. If this guy runs 100 metres, he smokes every heavyweight on the planet. If he jumps a certain height or lifts a certain weight, he's probably off the record. So that's as an athlete though, right?
But short distance,
get the tactics right.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've seen a few times where AJ has emptied the clip and needed that recovery time because he's a fast twitch fiber kind of guy. He ain't like a Tyson Fury, for example. Yeah. And I feel like the problem he's got with Usyk moving forward is people are saying things like, just stick it on him early, just stick it on him. I'm like, he's fucking hard to hit. Like, this really needs to be cooked to perfection. And you've got a guy who's an expert in dodging punches here who never stands still. Yeah,
that's the thing with AJ. He's never going to be Tyson Fury, so don't try and set up like him.
How do they build this fight next time? How do they look to create this new version of AJ to take him out?
You take the lead straight away. You're on the front foot. You're the guy bringing all the pressure. That's what you've got to do, and don't worry about gassing, because fighters very rarely gas when they're the ones who set the pace. The guy who tires is the one who's fighting at the pace of the other fighter. That's the one who will tire. So you have to set the pace, take centre ring from early on, and every time this boy takes a step close to you, hit him with something. I don't care where you hit him on the arms, hit him on the shoulders, hit him on the side of the head, just hit him. And that's what you've got, and be consistent with it. And people will say, oh, Usyk's so hard to hit, he's so good. Mate, he is, and I am testament to that, because I've been in the ring with him, but he's not fucking Houdini. He can be hit. He can, he can even be boxed with at certain times, but you have to be on that same level mentally as him. And as I said, Fury never tires in fights because he's so relaxed. That's never going to be AJ, because he doesn't relax and in complete control of his emotions and how he's working. It's just never going to be his way. So just be what you, as I've said before, don't ask a dog to be a cat. Let the dog be the dog. Just let him go in there, and he's got to get close. He's got to make it physically hard for all. If you've got certain attributes over another fight, why not use them?
A lot of people have been saying that AJ mentally, some people have claimed since the Klitschko fight, but especially since the Ruiz fight, has not been the killer that a lot of people sort of fell in love with. And like, he's been a little more gun shy. And if you look back at his stoppages, he has been taking his time more by the numbers. But, you know him better than most people do. How do you see AJ now?
I thought he was ruthless against Kubrat Pulev. I thought he had that killer mentality in his eyes. I thought he wanted, definitely felt the pace. I think it was round 7. was blown for the round, needed to get a second win, got it, and then took care of Kubrapulev really, really well. I get why people are saying that. I get why, because you look at the Ruiz rematch, he boxes his way to a victory, but he's on a huge amount of pressure that night. His career's on the line for the first time in his life. He's got the spite in him. You look like, I wanted him to approach the Usyk fight the way he approached the Dillian White fight. I need to see that mentality. Let's go in there and let's just have a fight. This is not I do not need a boxing match with this guy. I need to have a fight with him. And that's the mentality you have to take into the ring.
He seemed to me, you know how they try and reframe title fights for champions? I've often heard champions who go into a fight go, I've got to think like a challenger again, and I've got to almost act like the belts are up for grabs and we're fighting for the belts. I'm not defending. I am a challenger almost. And it felt like he went in with that, like a safety first sort of, just don't take the titles mentality. And the moment sort of passed him by, because Usyk did have that, I need to grab these belts mentality. And now I feel like we're going to see the absolute very best of AJ, because he knows. I feel like when he fought Ruiz the second time, it was like he knew that there was a sort of a real plan there. But now this is like everything that people criticised AJ for that night when they said, oh, you should have went in and knocked them out and all of that. And I was even thinking that as well. But now I say why he did what he did, because the pressure was on. But now it's kill or be killed now, to me.
That's it. Your career's at stake. That's all it's done. Your career's on the line. And that revokes a different kind of beast. Yeah.